Leave it alone, Kojo.
Oh, sorry. You know what? I thought I was supposed to say it's your boy back again. It's my bad.
All right, I'll do that. Sorry, bad.
Alright, let's do this. Let's do this.
Cool.
I'll do.
Right, okay, so just that shouldn't happen. Here's what it is. Hello, people. It's your man, Usmaan, back again with another Usmaan Talks. Episode 6, as always, with this series. We're always talking real topics. If you haven't checked out the last show with the homie Saeed, who was talking about, in particular, racism in football, the abuse that he gets online, the mental ramifications of that on the human mind. These are the kind of topics we want to discuss. And today, we're going to be talking more important topics. If you haven't already seen the Piers and Meghan Markle nonsense, obviously we'll save that to the end of the video, so stay for that. But we're going to start with the most important topic for me. I've been trying to get a female guest for a while now because we want to be shedding light on all things football, in particular women in football as well. And listen, without further ado, I'm going to send to her, we got the queen. We got the one who's carrying the mantle for the women.
Yes.
We got the homie. Oh God, man! Listen, how are you, but what are you saying?
Firstly, I feel like you did quite a good intro. I think Kojo, there was a reason why you didn't do it. There was a reason.
Usually, no, I do good intros, isn't it? He just lets me. Man said what 10 seconds before we went live.
Yeah, but to be fair, I did drop it.
That guy there, I keep putting the wrong way. That's how rattled I am.
I know. Listen, it is what it is. Obviously, Kojo doesn't normally do the intro, so it's my fault. I'll take responsibility for it. But I kind of just dropped him in the shit. But nonetheless, Kojo is going to start the show. We've spoken prior to coming live. We're going to be discussing a couple of topics. First and foremost, women in football. We're going to go into social media impact. Besides football, obviously, Instagram in particular is the one that I've had to completely remove from my life because, we'll go into it in more detail because I just think it's too toxic. But, we're going to go into racism in society and then obviously finish with the situation with Meghan Markle and Piers Morgan getting sacked in the morning. You'll love to see it. If you haven't already seen it, it's breaking news. Don't worry, we're gonna break all that news. Happy, I've got a smile on my face about that. But Kojo, I'll pass it over to you, homie. Obviously, to start with the first topic, which is women in football.
All right, well, firstly, let me say I'm gassed to have Anita here on the channel because, obviously I've been checking on watching and listening to her stuff since Gold Diggers, since the episode 100%. First one. I went there with Footy Says, and then Football Terrace as well. When I saw her on there, I was like, yo, big moves. And then one day I'm watching TV, I'm just minding my business, and I hear a voice. I'm like, where have I heard this voice before? I look up, Sky Sports. I see Anita. I'm like,
Anita, I see the
things. So you gotta respect the queen out here. So, obviously, I love Gold Diggers, and like I said, I've been listening since episode 1, and
I've been shouts you out on every show we've got. I'm not even gassing. You could actually.
Well, you gotta shout out the thing, bro, because it's brilliant. It's a brilliant listen every single time. And I've had the pleasure of also being there once with Footy Says. But just go back to the beginning. What made you and the other founding members of Gold Diggers start Gold Diggers?
Oh boy, do you know what's so funny? Every time someone asks me that, my answer always changes. There's just so many things, but the main thing is just, to get more women into the actual game. There's so many women out there who want to talk about football, but they get ridiculed for it, or they'll come online and then there's just not a space for them to even put their voices about football online. So they just keep it to themselves, innit? So when I started Twitter, and then obviously me and my best friend Brie, at the time, we were just this is a good space to start talking about football and stuff like that. But this was back when we had BBMs in college and stuff BBMs, back then you wanted to do it. And it's just obviously me, I'm a loud football fan. So when I used to change my status on BBM, Hazard just scored, or the Drogba. When I changed my BBM status when Drogba did the Champions League one, that was the first time.
That header, iconic. You never forget that, man.
iconic. But that was the first time I ever like changed my BBM status to something football related, and that's when I knew that this space is not for me. From this, I had bad guys telling me what do I know about football. Oh, you don't watch football. Why are you begging it? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So then, just ever since then, it's just been a thing where we need to create something where a woman can watch football in peace, you know, and not get asked stupid question like what's the offside and stuff like that, you know. Like, but yeah, me and Bree, we sat down in our uni room like a couple of years later. We said, let's do this. Let's start a YouTube channel. We didn't do it. And then 3 years later, we sat down again and we said, let's actually do it this time. And then we found, you know, 11 amazing girls, and we just started it, you know. And it's been a blessing ever since. I don't regret it one bit.
Well, you say that's the best thing about it. What has been the best thing about Gold Diggers? Obviously, you've mentioned that girls, ridiculously enough, just get asked stupid questions. I remember you were on a show. I listened to parts of it on Twitter when you were asked a question about Messi's
his blood type.
His blood type. Messi's blood type. That's stupid stuff like that. Yeah. Usmaan.
I've not even seen that. Actually, I've not even seen that.
You know what, I'm not gonna lie to you. I wouldn't. It's just I wouldn't go and find the tweet. People are stupid. But anyway, what's the best thing that's come out of Gold Diggers for yourself and maybe others as well?
I think the best thing to come out of Gold Diggers is the fact that I'm seeing it more often, innit? I'm seeing less men question women about football. I'm seeing that compared to when I first started, I am seeing a lot more men respecting female opinions on the game, and that has been beautiful. Now I don't know if it's, you know, down to Gold Diggers, but I can say that Gold Diggers has helped the situation, and for me to even say that is beautiful. I don't see the get back to the kitchens anymore from profiles with an actual DP. You know, you get the football avid Twitters, and you get those people who have like one follower, like go and put in your comments or whatever. I just know that now you know it's not acceptable to be doing it as yourself. That's one step into making things right. You know it's not acceptable. Now let's just kick it out of your mind fully. You know, there's less to do in that sense. But for me personally, it's just seeing other women, like they'll DM me. I'm so sorry, my camera does this sometimes. It's not you.
Yeah, it's all right. Don't worry about it.
It's the camera. But I see other women, they'll DM me and they will talk about the impact Gold Diggers has had in their life. Like I had a young girl message me the other day, and she was like, hi, I'm always watching your stuff. You don't know what you've done for me. She told me that she was born like mid 2000s and stuff. I'm like, girl, you're young. You too young to be watching that shit. What are you doing? But like, she's just like, yeah, now I can talk to guys like so confidently about football because I love football. I loved watching it, blah, blah, blah. And it's things like that. When I get DMs like that, when I'm just like, raw, like I'm actually doing something
100%.
to kind of change a narrative, you know. My little cousin was watching football before. Now she watches all of my stuff on YouTube. Now she's supporting Man United. I don't know why she chose Man United.
Yes!
I don't know why she chose Man United, but like she'll message me like, Man United just won. Oh my god! And she's in year 7. She's in year 7. So that's lovely.
At least she, you know, it could have been worse. She could have chose Arsenal in it. So at least, you know, yeah, you know what I mean. It could have been
always silver lining. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Honestly,
you're gonna be having to have different chats with if she's supporting Arsenal with the shit they're going through. But listen, regarding what you just said there, look, this is why I gave you that intro. Look. You know, you might not see it. Like for me personally, because obviously I spoke to you already. I teach, so you know, sometimes I don't even see it myself as a role model. But as a teacher, you automatically become that, whether you accept that or want that or not. So the kids automatically look up to you. And with what you guys have done, and I've got your pinned tweet in front of me here actually, because it cracked me up because you just told us that obviously initially you wanted to do it, and then eventually in 2019 you sat down and did it, but. Yeah. In terms of what you guys are doing for females, and you'll probably never you never see the whole picture because you'll never actually get to meet most of them, but you're fully paving the way. And like you said, those comments about, you know, get back in the kitchen, and we've seen that, or still we'll touch on it shortly, but obviously I'm sure you would have known that you watch the Chelsea game, of course, with the BT studio being full of women, and the sort of the response on social media again. But in terms of what you guys are doing, that's why it's so important, and that's why we want to celebrate it. That's why we want to continue to bring people on like yourself and other people to talk about. Because at the end of the day, the way I see it is, and I was trying to work out when I was start obviously doing the typing of the question, I was trying to work out an analogy of how I can, because obviously I'm not a woman, so I don't know how it feels like. But the only way I can potentially relate to you is I was thinking I'm basically an ethnic in a white man's world, and that's the only way I could potentially. I was just throwing it out to you. It's like, do you feel like you're almost like, obviously you're a female, but in a man's sport, and you're not accepted the way we sometimes feel like as ethnics we're not accepted in a white man's world, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. You know what, right? Being a woman in a man's sport is already one thing, right? So obviously football predominantly a men's sport. No one necessarily, well, at the times, took the women's game of football quite seriously either, and it was just a thing of, do I belong here? Like I said, I put my first BBM status up, and it was just like, rah, like this ain't for me, even though it's jokes. Oh God, I hate you.
You know what is this? Because I said it for thinking, but Clinton, I forgot.
Don't mind him. Don't mind him. He only knows what he's doing. But yeah, like I said it as a joke, but it's real rap. Like, do I even belong here? So it's kind of trying to make yourself feel like you belong as a woman. It's hard enough, but then trying to make yourself feel like you belong as a black dark-skinned woman.
Yeah.
God damn, like it's 10 times harder. It's been such a struggle. Like sometimes I literally sit down and I'm just like, I don't want to do this no more. But at the same time, I always have to look back, and I don't want to say I'm paving the way, because I don't think I am. But you guys have said I am. But
I think I personally,
by force, by fire, you will hear.
I'm not going to shy away from it. I'm being genuine.
I really appreciate it.
The work you guys are doing is groundbreaking, man. I'm really proud to have you on.
Honestly, I think all of us girls were paving the way, but the reason why I've made Gold Diggers black and ethnic minority is because even though we're paving the way for women, they're still going to be overlooked because of their color or because of their race, and that's something that, you know, we need to try and break that barrier, as well as the women in football barrier, because like I said, a lot more women are being accepted for their opinions now. But how many black women are you seeing on TV? How many black women are you seeing on these social media football punditry stuff? You know, you're not really seeing that many. You're not really seeing that many Asian women either. And it's like, any opportunity that I get as myself, I'm always like, okay, do you want more ethnic minority women? Because I can give you X, Y, and Z. I got a whole bunch of them, you know? It's just hard. It's hard, man.
Yeah, no, I see that. Like for myself personally, like, you know, one of my other good friends is a Pakistani lad as well called Hayden. Like, we initially started this series to talk about Asian participation, because Asians in football doesn't, as you guys will know, and it doesn't exist. There's no Pakistani representation. I think Hamza Chowdhury is one of the only few in the Premier League, and he's not the greatest of player. Like, man made like a shocking mistake the other day, and I was like, shit, man, he's the only person I've got, man. I need you to do something, bro. Boy, it's like, yo, bro, but come on, you better be doing it for the brothers, but, you know, I can't defend that shit. But in terms of, you know, what you said, that, like, I kind of want to ask you regarding your challenges, and it's like a two-part question. Your challenges, I kind of know what they are anyways, but what's the thing that keeps you going? You kind of said that, you know, you felt out of place in moments, you know, but what's been that driving force to keep you going, and what's been the obstacles that you felt like you've had to overcome in that period of starting up Gold Diggers?
Do you know what? The driving force has been the reaction, and regardless of whether I think I'm paving a way for people or not, the evidence is in front of you. There's some things that you just can't ignore, and that's basically the driving force. Even when there's times where I don't want to record, I don't want to do X, Y, and Z, I don't want to do this, I'm looking at other people that I know, and I'm just thinking, like, you guys are so smart, you know, like you guys are really good at football. Like there's an Asian girl called Bubbles in our Gold Diggers, right? That she's amazing. Like I always wherever I go, I always big her up, because her knowledge about her club is second to none. Like I can put her up against the Jamie Carragher. I can put her up against Jamie Carragher, and she will give you better punditry than Jamie Carragher would. So whenever, you know, I see, like, I will get an opportunity on Sky Sports, and then I will say, also Bubbles. You know, the fact that I'm in that position where I can say, yeah, you guys can give it to me, or we can talk about Liverpool, and I've got this perfect girl Bubbles for you. She will be able to. Do you know, being in that position is driving me. So it's driving me harder than me being in the position myself. You know, it's kind of like I can be in a place where I can say, oh, I've got this beautiful young black girl for you. She's amazing. Get her on your show. Or I've got this beautiful young Asian girl for you. Get her on your show. Here's where I think she's gonna go, you know? And that is what's driving me. Like, it's not even about, you know, me being on platforms, etc. It's about me putting other people there and making a normality. That drives me. But when it comes to the challenges, it's a challenge because obviously I've been on Sky Sports, I've been on BT Sports, I've done Premier League stuff, and there's now the expectation where I have to act a certain way. I'm gonna tell you for free. I ain't gonna switch up on nobody. I'm gonna tell you for free. Like, there's the expectation that, okay, I am, you know, a dark-skinned woman. The general consensus is that, you know, when a dark-skinned woman has like a loud voice, or so she's aggressive, or like
I've got that down as one of the questions actually.
Yup, fam. And it's not even like I'm here to shut down that narrative. I ain't even here to shut down that narrative. If that's how you feel, there's something wrong with you. There is absolutely something wrong with you. And if you're gonna see me anywhere I go, and you don't wanna hire me because of how I speak, or how I present myself, because I'm a proper football fan. I'm not like a journalist. That's why in my bio, on Clubhouse and stuff, I put it there. I am a presenter, not a journalist, because I am allowed to have opinions. I am allowed to speak about my opinions. Just because you don't like the way I speak about my opinions, it does not mean that I'm not going to speak about my opinions. I've lost opportunities because of it, and that's okay, because I know what type of football presenter I want to be. I want to bring the fun back in football, the banter back in football, and that's okay. Just because I'm a black woman doesn't mean I'm being aggressive or I'm being arrogant and stuff like that. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel, and I don't want to work with you. But it's been difficult because you get these opportunities and then you start thinking to yourself, oh, maybe I should, you know, switch it up a bit. But then I'm just like, nah, man, like, no.
You got. This is the thing. Like, it does become difficult because, like you said, there's opportunities. You know, sometimes you think you second doubt yourself. But the one thing that I always say, you know, like I said, one thing I always tell the kids at school, I always tell like family members when they come to for advice, is you're always gonna stay true to yourself. Because at the end of the day, you know, when you go home, you sat at your ones. You can't lie to yourself about who you are as a person. You can put this facade on all day you want to other people, you're X, Y, and Z, but you can't lie to yourself. So the fact that you're staying true to yourself in the long run will keep you in better stead. And I think the reason, like, I respect you so much, and obviously the other, you know, females that you have on your podcast, is that you don't sugarcoat it. There's no bullshit. There's no fakeness. It's all genuine. It's either take it or leave it, basically. And I think a lot of people have been taking it, obviously, and enjoying your content, rightfully so, because like you said earlier, you know what you're talking about, and that's what it's about. Like, at the end of the day, I'd rather you be loud or whatever these guys want to label you as, and be yourself, than be something that they want to portray you as or paint you in a certain way to fit into society. This all fitting into society, we're going to touch on it shortly, is bullshit, because at the end of the day, you can never keep everyone happy. You can fit into as many societies, sort of, you know, what's perfect, and there's always going to be someone that has something wrong with you. Look at Ronaldo, man. The guy's bagged 30 goals every season. People are hating the guy like he's killed them or something. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he's just a human being playing football. I don't know why, like, people got hate for the guy. So that's the way I see it. But my last question before I pass it to Kojo is that, obviously, you mentioned the fact that you've been on Sky, etc. I'm trying to find the question, but I've written down Sky. I don't even know where it is in here. But I'll ask you something.
It's on the top. It's on the top, bro. It's on the top. Don't worry.
I look at Kojo, you know. I'm gonna ask you about BT Sports yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Chelsea obviously won. We're not gonna talk football. We've already mentioned it before. What I will say is that you've got to do a watch along with your dad, though. I've got to put that out there. I need to see.
He's a real G. He's a real one. He's a real one. He's a real one.
Bro, he's
a real one.
Legend. His reaction when he looked at you was pure like, Really? You said this guy's good? You said this guy's good? Like, honestly, man, I've been like that with Pogba since day one because my brother's the same as Pogba. Like, he didn't want us to sign, and I've been like banging Pogba's drum and whatnot. But off topic. Anyways, coming back to the BT presenters, 3 females. Obviously, it's good to see. Again, as you'd imagine, you know, the sort of narrow-minded, you know, idiots on social media saying that, oh, I'm gonna unsubscribe to BT. Like, no one gives a shit about your subscription, bro. Like, like, do what, bro? No, I'm sure BT will manage without you, bro. Like, he does manage. But, you know, what do you make of it? 3 female presenters. I know it's happened before. Do you think it's important that, you know, we see more representation like this on BT? Or do you feel like it's almost like they're shoving it down your throat? Or where do you sit on it?
Oh, child. I don't know. I'm in 2 minds about it, right? So you'd always get, I don't know, I haven't really seen much of BT doing half and half, you know? Like sometimes it will be like, okay, I think there's a lady who heads up the BT score at 3 p.m. Yeah. She
I
heads
don't know her name, but I know you know about
Yeah, it's quite pretty. Cool. You have that there, yeah. But then you look around the panel, how many other women are there? You know? And then you had yesterday where there was 3 ladies, which was great. I even sent BT a message. Anyone from BT watching?
Oh yeah, Jules Breach.
Jules Breach, that's it.
Yeah, that's right.
She's gorgeous, very gorgeous girl. But you had things like yesterday where there's all women on the panel, right? And they're all talking about football, which is beautiful to see nonetheless. But I want to see them talk with men. I don't want there to be a Champions League night. Like tonight's Champions League night. I can guarantee we're going to see Gary Lineker. We're going to see Rio Ferdinand. We're going to see the whole batch, the whole batch, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm curious to see how they're going to incorporate women in that. You know, like it's not a thing where you've got to sit me down with women to talk about football. You can sit me down with the man them. And I can talk about football with the man them just as well. And Sky Sports does that so well. They do that extremely well. And what I love about Sky Sports is that when there is a woman there, you don't really have to pay attention to the fact that she's a woman. You know? Unless it's Alex Scott, where there's a lot of press around her, and obviously everyone just wants to be everyone and just be stupid about it. But when I think Keanu hit me up with the name of the woman who she mediated Hasselbank and Evra, and they were going back and forth, and it was just a beautiful conversation, and she hosted it very, very well. I cannot remember her name for the life.
So let us know in the chat because I haven't got a clue.
I know Keanu. Keanu will know. Keanu is very good with names, but people like her, like that's the perfect example of incorporating a woman on a panel of men. You know, I want to see more of that. I want to see more inclusion rather than, hey, girls there, boys there. Please, I just want to see inclusion. Let me get there.
Yeah, it did. Obviously, I'll pass it to Kojo, but just that last thing, it looked a bit weird to me. I'm not gonna lie, because I turned it because you know we were doing the podcast same time, so I didn't really watch the game. Kelly Kate.
He's on point, you know. Hey, wow.
Keanu knows everything.
Keanu, put your hand down for you. I'll shout you on Twitter right now.
Hold on, just really quickly on that point, I'm so sorry, but Keanu is my dog. I love Keanu so bloody much. When it comes to anything football, I talk to Keanu about everything, but I just wanted to put it out there. Just a full shout out.
Listen, guys, show love to the people. But Kojo, what you saying? Go on, pass it over to you. I've spoken enough, man.
No, before I even ask the question, do you see why now I rep her every time we talk, bro? This is what I'm saying, because
I already know, man. Do you think I've been trying to get on for ages?
I know, but it's the realest. You know what I mean? There's no BS with it.
That's what we want, man. That's what we want
from start to finish, bro. So that's why I like the energy, and it's the energy with all of them as well. You can go from Mel to Bubbles. Bubbles, I've been trying to get on my own podcast for a while. So Bubbles, if you're watching, you better come on my show soon.
Come
true. I want to ask the question of, so the other sort of girls that are loving football. So you obviously mentioned your little sister who is loving the game right now and supporting the best team in some people would say in Old Trafford. Some people also say in the rest of the UK. But what would be your advice to someone that was maybe in your shoes when you were first thinking about starting Gold Diggers or starting in the industry itself?
Just do it. I've had so many girls DM me about, starting their own thing and, have a YouTube channel and things like that. Just just do it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, right? I did something so stupid. I started a YouTube channel, and I really wanted to carry on with it. I really did, and I thought I can handle this. I can do YouTube, blah 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 blah. And then obviously the Football Terrace came in, and then obviously Football Terrace offered me a deal, and I'm like, do you know what? Run it. I wanna stay with Football Terrace, and I want to still carry on my I love Kiani. I still want to carry on my YouTube channel. But then once I started my YouTube channel, other girls started their YouTube channel, and I thought my work is done. I don't need to do my YouTube channel anymore. Literally, the last video on my YouTube channel was sometime around June last year, and that's just because by June I knew like 4 or 5 other women who had started their YouTube channel since I started mine.
Yeah.
And I said, my work is done. You know, like just go ahead and do it. There's nothing anyone is going to say to you that can make you think that you don't belong there. I'll tell you that.
100%.
There's nothing no one can tell you. So yeah, just go ahead and do it. Listen, if you're a woman and you're watching and you're young and you want advice, you can always message me. But I promise you, I'm just gonna tell you, just go and do it, and I'll follow up the next week. I say, have you done it yet? Because
I love that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't do it. Yeah, it's true. They need that extra push.
I'll follow up. You gotta push them. Just do it. Honestly.
I respect that. Let's talk about maybe I say professional footballers that have played the game of football. So like your Alex Scotts, for example. But I want to go into the case of Karen Kearney because she was ridiculed by Leeds fans and by the club itself to an extent in terms of how they. What was your opinion of how the club dealt with it? Because obviously we talk about fans and how they tweet nonsense and how they will say nonsense, but a club itself plays a huge part in how they can help advance women in football. What was your thoughts on how Leeds dealt with the whole Karen Kearney situation?
Firstly, if that's the real monster CFC, we did tell them. Sorry. Shout out to Liverpool. We told you guys. We really told you.
Oh yeah.
Anita, no, come on. We got it. Please just say it one more time because
Liverpool fan. We told you.
Hey, you know what?
Yes.
I stand. You know what? Today I'm a blue unit. Today I'm a blue.
Yes.
I'm a blue today. That's it.
Yes.
We told you. Just saying.
Love that. Liverpool slander, I'm all here for it, man. Lampard told them one season. I was going to get it in because Lampard said in one season, Mans was saying, Lampard, X, Y, and Z, giving a finger, leg it, man, leg it.
That's right.
Yes.
I ain't gonna talk too much about that one. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
How your opinion on how Leeds dealt with the whole Karen Kearney situation? She gave was quite honestly a great great opinions on the Leeds situation. Yeah.
Do you know what? Right, I personally condone those type of tweets from football clubs. I love it. I love the banter. I love things like that. Blah blah blah. Cool. But at the same time, if your banter is going to be that loud, it needs to be that loud for everyone else. Because I think in that group of pundits, I think 2 others said the same thing that she mentioned. I think it was something about Leeds not coming up if they didn't have X, Y, and Z or something like that. But 2 pundits said the exact same thing, and the banter wasn't as loud for them, and that's where the problem is. If you're gonna treat us equally, I respect it. Don't get me wrong. Like if I was in her shoes, right, and I was the only one who said it, blah blah blah, I'll take it on the chin. But at the same time, I want that type of security from the club as well. Like you're gonna see those you're gonna see those sexist comments come underneath that tweet, and you are going to handle it. That's how I want it to be done. You are going to handle it. But the fact that it wasn't handled like that, it's a cause for concern. Because yes, we want to be treated equally, and yes, we want to have the banter in football, blah blah blah. But we also want to be safe. You're getting death threats. You're getting the sexist abuse. You're getting people sexualizing you, stuff like that underneath your tweet. You manage that. You know, you're gonna put something like that out there, knowing the consequences. Because I'm a woman. Because other men have said it, but you're only using me. You have to now manage that situation to the best of your ability. And that's where they messed up. The fact that they're not managing it to the best of their ability, the fact that these tweets are being let run, being let run loose It's ridiculous. You're seeing grown ass white middle class men under that tweet talking rubbish about her when what she said wasn't even mad.
Not at all.
It was so.
It was quite factual, actually.
Exactly.
It was actually quite factual.
It was calm. I just don't understand what the reaction was about.
Exactly, and all of that. That's where it's a problem. It's not the act as per se for me, but it's the response. You know that's gonna happen. If you know that's gonna happen, you manage that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You manage that. You're feeling it. You manage that. And if you're not going to manage that, that's where you messed up. And that's where we have a problem. Because one thing we're not going to do is we're not going to ask for equality and then complain when equality comes. But we're going to ask for equality and we're going to ask for that protection because we deserve it. We deserve that protection.
Facts.
Period.
Facts. And let's bring it a bit more closer. I say to home. Your homie, one of the also former members of Gold Diggers, Miss Mel Ceballos, dropped a wonderful video, which to this day I stand it to this day. I don't care because they still kind of chatting to them man over there. So
it's true. It's
facts, man. Yeah, because Tottenham are above them still, and they're still down there. So I don't know what they're coming to get mad for. But certain troops obviously made a comment about a disgusting comment about her, and she dealt with it wonderfully. May I add, before I even go into the question, she dealt with it wonderfully. Got him on her channel and addressed him perfectly as well. So I was very glad to see how she's been glowing up, and nothing can stop her shine. But again, with troops, someone so I guess high profile. What was your reaction to that first when it first came out? Obviously, knowing the person personally as well in terms of Mel. What was your reaction to that, and how do you feel like people like him should learn and try and understand what they're doing does not help themselves and women in football?
Yeah, the first thing I did when sorry, am I?
Oh, you know, it might be me. Just see this mic here. That's on my podcast as well. Let me just. I
was thinking. Oh, yeah. It was you. First thing that I did when the first time I saw it, I asked Mel if she's all right, firstly, because obviously you don't know what that person's going through, and obviously Mel had a lot of heat on the TL from her video beforehand as well. But if I'm being honest with you, I was expecting it. I was expecting something like that to happen because what the guy did, right? And I don't want to call him out because they blessed it and they're cool. And I watched the video and he was very apologetic. Yeah, and it was a very good video and he's explained everything and they've apologized, they've blessed it. So it's none of my business. But one thing it was expected because the way he kept talking about it wasn't the first time he mentioned her in the videos. The way he kept talking about it was just a matter of time till something sexist or something mad came out, you know? And it's one of them ones where I just thought, oh, why? Like just why did you have to say that? You can run your banter all you want with the video, whatever, keep it going. It's free publicity for my home girl anyway. Keep it going, whatever. You just don't have to take it that far. And do you know what? I'm kind of happy it happened. I'm sad that it had to be Mel, but I'm happy it happened because now other men are gonna think twice when they want to try and run joke like that. That is not a joke. What he said is it's not a funny joke. You know, like the man then may be keying behind scenes or whatever, but it is not funny because not only are you just being very condescending and just being vile, you're also enabling men to now treat women in football that way. And we don't want to be treated that way, you know? So yeah, I'm sad that it happened to Mel, but I'm happy that it happened in general. And I'm happy that, you know, Troops has acknowledged, you know, where he went wrong and that they came together and they spoke about it and stuff, which is very grown of them. So I can't really say too many negative things about it, but I just wish it just never happened. You know, people.
Yeah, and I think the positives from it, from me personally, like obviously I'm a huge fan of Troops, but of course, you know, that was just a complete out of line. But as you kind of alluded to, the fact that so many people like were against what Troop said.
Yeah.
I feel like that was kind of like, again, you know, this might be clutching on straws slightly, but you know, it's kind of like a show of time in terms of more people are speaking out about it in a negative light. Right, you know, I feel like 5, maybe 10 years back, if a female was talking about football, more men would have sided with Troop. Not with his comments, obviously, because they're not appropriate, but more than, oh yeah, he's probably right, she don't know what she's talking about. Do you get what I mean? Like, so
Exactly.
there was none of that whatsoever. No one was. I didn't see anyone's.
No one condoned it.
Yeah, exactly.
No one did. Yeah.
No one.
Yes, so that's definitely a positive. Obviously, something's definitely given. But I kind of want. It kind of led us on nicely to the next topic, which is social media impact. I didn't want to keep it too football. I wanted to talk in general. Obviously, you being a black female. On social media, you know, the sort of impact it's had on you mentally, or if it hasn't, of course. But first and foremost, in terms of like being on social media, how has that been for you? Like I see your tweets, like not all the time, but quite a few times. You get quite a lot of abuse, like in your comments. I'm sure you see it more than me, but I was looking through quite a few of your tweets, and especially when you say something that seemed deemed as opinionated, so to speak. Like how do you deal with all you know, the social media side of it? Like constantly, every single day, someone's got something to say to you.
It's hard, you know. When I first started out, obviously Gold Diggers was easier for me because it's not as out there as all the other platforms that I'm on. So Gold Diggers is strictly just a safe space. Yeah, so it's more for women in football and men in football who support us, rather than, you know, the misogynists out there or the racists out there. We get way more love than hate. But when I got onto the football terrace now and then, it's like on such a large scale. Like, it's nice to see that so many people, they, you know, they compliment me, they compliment, you know, how I speak, they compliment my knowledge in football and stuff. But then there's also a really dark side where not everyone's going to agree with your opinions, and that's okay. I've learned that the hard way growing up. Like, and it's okay to not agree with your opinion, but when people don't agree with your opinion, or when people aren't necessarily listening to what you have to say, purely because she's a woman, purely because she's black, she's loud, she's this, she's that. It's a hard pill to swallow, because I grew up knowing this anyway. Like, my dad's always like drilled it into my head, whatever you're going through, just know that you are going to be stereotyped like this, and it's up to you to overcome it, and you need to overcome it in the society that we're in. That's just how I've grown up.
How have you overcome that? Like mentally, like obviously, like you said, like at the start, like, sometimes it's tough. Like how have you overcome it? Because I'm sure there's loads of people in your situation. You know, they probably look up to you and think, look, you know, you do have that sort of aura about you, that you're very confident in who you are, you know, obviously that comes with experience, etc. Like how have you overcome it for those that, you know, starting that journey, so to speak?
I'm not gonna sit here and say that it was easy and say, you know, like all you have to do is X, Y, and Z. Nah, you're gonna cry a few times. I'm gonna tell you that for a fact. You are gonna cry a few times. I've had my fair share of tears, like all over it and stuff. But the way I overcome it is just literally sitting down and telling myself there is a bigger picture to it. So everything that I do, there is going to be a bigger picture, regardless of what they're saying about my skin tone, regardless of what they're saying about me being a woman. There is a bigger picture, and one day there's gonna be groundbreaking, innovative changes in the football industry, and we're gonna be part of that change. You know, that is always gonna be the bigger picture. And even if it's not good, but even if we have to take some of the abuse, it's basically paving a way so that the younger generation doesn't have to take that abuse, doesn't have to feel it when they're older. And it's so sad, but it's the only way that I can think about overcoming it, because this is hard. Like, it's so, like, I look at people like Mel. I don't know how Mel did it. Like,
Mel has been amazing, to be honest with her.
I don't know how she did it. Like, she will talk to me and she will ask me for advice and stuff. But in my head, I'm thinking, sis, you advise me, because I don't know. I don't know how you did it. She's a strong woman, because even though I get my fair share, she got it magnified.
Yeah, she's Andy from Brighton. Isn't it Brighton that's one tweeted it as well?
Yeah, Brighton tweeted
it.
That's a madness, though.
That was funny, and I'm telling her she needs to merchandise that shit because
yeah,
there's some money to make.
She needs to get it on some shirts or something. You know?
Yeah, some hoodies. I'll buy it.
Yeah, legit. You know, listen to what you said there. I was just thinking in my head because obviously, look, I'm not gonna put you like. No, I've done a lot of sort of reading on the 70s. I'm huge on like black activism and stuff, especially in the 70s. You know, Muhammad Ali, Rosa Parks. You know, the list is endless. Like, obviously, not. You know, I can't put you in the bracket Rosa Parks, of course, and all that. But what I will say is that listening to you speak just then, in my head, I'm thinking you're basically walking so the next generation can run or fly. That's basically how I see it. Like, generally, you keep talking about the bigger picture, and I see the bigger picture. Because, like I said, I teach, you know, the school I was in today, all the kids today, right? Third world countries, you got Somali girls there. None of them used to play football. They seen an Asian lad in myself come in, they told, yo, we did. Because normally the coaches are not Asian or of ethnic minority, they're normally white or whatever it may be. They seen me come in, got all the community, like all the ethnic minorities playing in football, even the girls with the hijabs are all playing. I encourage them. Like the ones that you don't think that, you know, they should be playing football. Like, what? I always say to them, what nonsense that you can do whatever the hell you want in this life. Like, as long as you put your mind to it, that's all it is to it. And that's the same for you guys. At the end of the day, you are, you know, whether you see it or not, a little kid, like you said, obviously your little cousin, etc. They look at you and they see, you know what, if she can do it, I can do that. So basically, if you ever see that abuse, my advice to you, obviously you were saying to Mel, but my advice to you would be is, you're walking so the next generation can run. Don't ever forget that, because that is more powerful than anything else. Regardless of what Dave thinks, who's got some Union Jack photo in his flipping thumbnail, and you can't even see a man's face. Who gives a shit about my man? He's probably sat there at home doing jack shit with his life, but you're making a change. It's true, don't it? You're making a genuine change to people's life, and that's why you get those DMs. So fuck the haters. At the end of the day, you're doing something for the greater good, so they can do one the way I see it. But coming on to the last question, I've completely forgotten what it was. Oh, there we go. You mentioned it earlier, actually.
Stop making questions, bro.
Yeah. You mentioned it earlier. I don't know where that Sky one's gone. I was going to ask about Sky Sports, but I don't know where
Fourth one.
Oh, it's because you just took it at some point.
Cool.
We'll throw it. We got to obviously, you know, shout her out now. But yeah, so the question to you is, in terms of, you mentioned the way you speak, the way you look, etc. On social media, like, has there ever been a point that you feel like I'm not going to be accepted for who I am? Like, obviously in social media in particular, and we spoke about Instagram. Like, for me personally, I've completely stopped using that app. I just think it's too toxic. You have to look a certain way. You know, it's very fake. Basically, Instagram's a fake app, and you know. How have you dealt with that sort of perceived image of you have to look this way, you have to talk this way in the industry? How have you kind of overcome those sort of struggles?
Well, I mentioned it earlier. Ain't nobody gonna change me. I'm who I am. I'm what I am. Whatever. You know, like, obviously, like, Instagram, it's like you said, it's toxic.
It's very toxic, man.
My God, it's so toxic. Yeah, it took me a while. I've always had Instagram, but I've never used it. It took me a while to get myself onto Instagram and get myself out there on Instagram. Now I've got a lot of pictures there on Instagram, and I'm feeling myself. I'm just like, all right, cool, bet. But at the same time, I know for a fact, that if I go into influencer Instagram and stuff like that, I know I can't compare to these people, so I just don't do it. I don't compare to them at all, because everyone's path is different. So I try to go on that angle, like, my path is different 100%. To theirs. Whilst they're gonna be, you know, taking pictures in like their Gucci bags, Louis bags and stuff like that, and looking all nice and slim and, you know, slender and all that, I'm just gonna pose with my football tops, because that's all I got. You know, all I got are my football tops. You know, like, it's just about finding your own voice, being confident in yourself and what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And you'll stop looking at other people and what they're doing. Once you are more confident in yourself, it'll become easier to kind of get onto these social media platforms and be yourself without looking sideways, you know. But Instagram was hard.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was hard as hell. But I just banged out my football t-shirts, and no one can come for me.
Are you wearing rival kits? Obviously, that's not allowed, is it? You know?
No, you can't. No. You can't wear a Boca Juniors shirt. No.
Listen, once Pogba leaves your club, do you think I'm going to be shameless?
You're shameless.
I'm gonna be shameless.
It's alright. You don't even saw you out of the Pogba shit, man. I got a plug, man. It's okay.
No. The French one, the front.
What you saying? Red or black?
I don't think she's gonna wear the United one because you know.
Yo, you gotta be out of your mind.
We'll back to the French kit out there. You want to say no more than drop in? What a baller.
If Fred was actually Brazilian, I'd buy you a Fred Brazilian shirt, but here's what it is, isn't it?
A Fred what? For who? Why?
Fred. I said if he was actually Brazilian,
you're actually so shady. I just got it. You shady. You didn't need to. You didn't need to. You shady.
Exactly. Why have you brought Fred into Paul?
Sorry, bro. He's been stressing me out, man. He's been stressing me out. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's just trying to make a junior class, bless him. But listen, we're going to move on to our last topic, which, of course, most important one that we're going to discuss, racism in society. You know, this kind of coincides with the situation with Piers Morgan and Megan. So I'm going to allow Kojo to answer the first couple of questions because they relate to yourself. And then we will just have a general chat regarding Piers. I want to get everyone's thoughts on that. So Kojo, obviously, I'll pass it over to yourself.
You know, let me take a quick detour because this guy question needs to come out of the way completely.
Oh, yeah. Can we I've missed it. Yeah.
So when you got that call, when you got that call,
yes,
what was the reaction? Because I always like when I see the tweet, or when I see a tweet,
I've got it here. I've saved it. So in 2019 is how it started. Some of you alpha males hate when females tell you facts about football. Y'all gonna be triggered as hell when we start this podcast. And then how it's going. Anita on Sky.
There you go. You found it. Hey.
Let's get it.
So obviously, like, I'm on Twitter, and when I see like you, I'll say the boys from Tapping that now become part of Touchline Fracas, or obviously now Beautiful Game. They are doing stuff with Eurosport.
Stoppage Time as well. Them ones are killing it.
Stoppage Time as well, exactly. So shout out Mayowa and the team. So when I see these tweets, I get gassed. I'm like, look at the people them doing the thing.
Yeah, it's good to see, man.
How gassed were you when Sky came true? What was your reaction anyway in general?
Yo, I don't even know where to start, you know. Firstly, I'm playing. It was weird. I knew it was coming. Sorry guys, I get my camera. I knew it was coming because I met a woman called Jessica Creighton. She's always on Sky Sports, and she's in a transfer window for January this year. Nice black woman. I really like her, and she asked me to come on her personal podcast called B is for Black, right, to talk about the racism in society and stuff like that. And she literally said, "You're well spoken and you're unapologetically black. I'm gonna do what I can for you." And I was like,
"Oh yes, love that."
And you know, I've heard it bare times, innit? I've heard it bare times, like, you're black, I want to do something for you. But then it's like, are you really gonna do anything for me? Like, you know, like, are you really? But then, like, what, 2-3 days later, she plugged me with like a producer at Sky Sports. She's like, "Hi, I've got this girl Anita, she's in CC. I think she'll be really great to do this Chelsea segment, blah blah blah. She's a Chelsea fan like you guys, blah blah blah." And I'm like, it's like, I'm not gonna lie, the email went to my junk mail first, didn't it? So I thought,
can you imagine you missed that, you know?
No, I almost missed it because I thought it was spam. I was thinking, is this real? And then they gave me a date and a time, and I'm like, I ain't gonna say nothing till that date and time because I don't think it's real. And then the day and time came, and I'm sitting with Anton Dooley, and I'm thinking, Michael Bridge. I was like, oh hey guys, and then like, oh hey, I've watched some of your stuff. I said, me? My stuff? All right, bet, cool. And do you know what? I'm not even gonna lie, I was gassed when I told my parents as well. Yeah, it's really nice watching your parents watch you, innit? Like they loved it. Like they were so gassed up. It was unbelievable. Like the first time round, it was just overwhelming. The second time now, that was even more overwhelming because I was like, y'all want me back? Oh, all right, cool, no problem. The third time, I said, "Nah, you taking the piss now."
No, you should have said, "Oh, where do I sign? Where do I sign?"
Literally.
Make it permanent.
I can talk about transfers all you like, baby. Where do I sign? You know, it was big for me. But if I'm to be very honest with you, I wasn't nervous for Sky, but there was a Nigerian television show called Channels TV because I'm Nigerian, and they asked me to come on, and that's right.
Okay.
They asked me to come on, and that's when I was sweating. That's when the nerves came in. When I told you, sometimes, doing things for people back home hits hard. Like that was a different type of, like, my parents are proud of me.
100, man.
You know, like that one hit hard. But no, Sky Sports was it was nuts.
Wavy.
We got that at the end, Kojo.
We did.
That question now, Kojo.
All right, let's go back to the topic. It was racism in society. Now, personally speaking, I've got 5 sisters. Wow, I've got 5 sisters. Yeah, it just hit me. Wow. It just hit me. I got 5. Yeah. And only one brother. We're outnumbered in this family, bro.
Big family.
Big family. But so I got 5 sisters, obviously black women, and obviously I know the struggles as a black man, but the struggles they go through, I'm not gonna lie to you, it scares me sometimes. And I've got a little sister now who's 16, and I can't help but worry about, what she could go through, because she's passionate about many things. And I always tell her, look, just go for what you want to go for. No one can really stop you in your dreams. But as a black woman yourself, when you, especially in the football world or anywhere else, do you feel the sense of you always have to push that bit harder to get to a certain place? And you see people obviously purposely put obstacles in your ways to make it that much difficult for you to reach a higher level?
Yeah. Oh God, if that's the simplest way to put it, it's just I always refer back to my dad, like, because I love the man, but he put it in my head from early. You are going to have to work 150%. The white person will work 100%, and he will still get that job ahead of you. And that's how society is right now. And it's so difficult knowing that, and knowing that you are better than your opposition, but you're still going to have to work that 10 times harder. It is hard. I witness it all the time in the football industry. I say this quite often, and I'm quite unfiltered about it. Okay. The football social media, they love off white women or lighter skinned women than they would a dark skinned woman, and I am living proof. I know that for a fact. And going through that on a weekly basis or daily basis, it is very hard to overcome until you find people that believe in you. So obviously I work under the Football Terrace, and Terry, he owns the Football Terrace. He has been amazing. I've told him about my struggles. Like these last 2-3 weeks, right? I had an opportunity that I went to a white lady, and it's like there's no other reason why it could have gone to a white lady other than the fact that she's white, And I speak to him about it, and he's a white middle class man, and he's middle aged. He's not middle aged. Let me not put him middle aged. But
I'm definitely not going to this part. I'm definitely.
He's gonna kill me when he watches this. Nah, but he's older than me, innit? And he gets it. Like he totally understands it, and he's always feeding me confidence, because I will drop in confidence, and there's just no way for you to fix that, because in society it's a proven fact. White women are going to get chosen over you. A white person will get chosen over you if you don't put in that extra effort for whatever role you're going for. And it's so sad. It's really sad. And it got to me for the last couple of weeks. I stopped making content. I stopped going on Football Terrace. I didn't even want to do Gold Diggers anymore, because it was just that damning. But yeah, it's about having people that support you around you. Like my parents support me. Terry, my boss, he doesn't need to have me on the show. He doesn't need to have a dark-skinned woman on the show. He can easily. He called me Queen of the Terrace. He can easily call a white woman Queen of the Terrace, but he chose me purely because he knows what I've got. So when I look at things like that, it raises me back up into thinking, okay, there are some decent people out there, and the generation closest to mine, they are a better generation than those further ahead,
100%.
And it gives me hope. It gives me hope to continue going, despite the inequalities that are in society at the moment. So it's difficult, man. It makes you want to quit, but you have to keep going, and you got to make sure you have positive people around you. I'm gonna tell you for free, I know so many people who thought they had positive people around them, but they had people telling them to do what they didn't want to do. And literally, that's why I always keep my DMs open. Like, if any woman is watching this, or any dark-skinned black woman, or even if you're light-skinned, even if you're white, even if you're mixed race, and you need to come to me to kind of help you make a right choice, I will never force my choices on you. I will only support you. And that's what we all need as women in this industry, is just support. Don't tell me what to do. Just support me. You know? So I'm gonna just put that out there for anyone. If you want to DM me about it, please do.
See, this is chesty. I love this. I love the chest. That's why I like it. Right. It's like, yes, everything is real. With that, so obviously, do you also meet times where there's like a certain perception of how you are based on? I mean, I think I definitely feel like I know the answer to this question. But you know, just to put the question out there for anyone that's watching that won't know, is there a certain perception that's put of you straight away when they see woman, black, dark skin? What's the perception that's thrown on you straight away?
Arrogant, loud, attitude. Oh my god! Like, I call it ALA. It's so funny. Listen, ALA, attitude, loud, arrogance. Listen, all I can do is, I don't know, try and change the narrative, but it's not a narrative I want to change, because I feel like if you can't change your mindset, what's wrong with you? There ain't nothing wrong with me. It's you. It is a you problem that you think that because I'm opinionated, I'm arrogant, or because I'm opinionated, I'm loud. Like, you look at the Shola and Piers Morgan thing, right? Yeah. And when Shola went on Good Morning Britain, and she gave Piers Morgan the.
Yeah, what a legend. She's a legend. She deserves
literally, she was doing her job. Like, and she gave Piers Morgan the Piers Morgan. She did what Piers Morgan
does. That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
All of a sudden, she's a bully. She made me feel uncomfortable. I was anxious.
Wow. Man don't like you, give that medicine. Can't take it back.
And you know what? If you go look at her book on Amazon, and the reviews now, she's got terrible reviews now, because all the racists have gone to attack her.
Wow, that's so embarrassing, man. This is what I mean. This, obviously, we're gonna go into the topic now, and I kind of wanted to do like an open discussion, because obviously we're probably all opinionated on the matter. This is my issue with the whole situation. It's like, look, obviously I can't reason with the racists, but surely they don't know what right or wrong is in their heads. They just go for wrong. Like, regardless, that Piers Morgan go and stab a black woman, right, or black man, or ethnic, where they'll be like, they must have done something to make him do that. Like, their first reaction won't be, why is my man stabbing someone? That you lock him up. They'll be like, nah. There must have been something that made him do that action. It can't be the white man's fault. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think that's the issue with society. It's always like you said, like Kojo obviously asked you earlier, we're always a couple of steps behind. We always have to work harder. We always have these stereotypes. You've got your stereotype, ALA. You've got the stereotypes straight away. I've got my stereotypes. I've had it in football as well. That, why are you not a taxi driver? Why are you a coach? Like, I work for an academy, innit? As a coach. I've had it loads of times. Like, when I'm taking team out, why are you not a taxi driver? There's someone actually come up to me, which I found funny, because why are you not a doctor? And I was like, is that going to be this so? Like, I'll take that one. He's like, well, it's a stereotype, isn't it? You manage to know it. I was like, well, yeah, it's not a problem. Like, but you get the point, man. It's just ingrained in them. But listen, we're going to talk about Piers Morgan and Meghan Markle to finish the show. I'm going to kind of host this bit, and obviously we'll just have a chat regarding it. I don't really know where to start, to be honest with it. There's so much to unpack. I feel like, Kojo, do you have any way where to start?
Well, let's start with the fact that they got that guy the hell out of there. That's the first one. Thank goodness the guy's the hell out of there, because I'm tired of his voice. I blocked him on Twitter and I still see his name. So,
oh my God,
I'm just glad that he's gone. That's number one. Number two, shout out Meghan and Harry for that interview. It was
100%.
It was direct. It was straight to the point.
Yeah.
But it also made sure that we got to really highlight what this country is really about, because the reaction to it, and it's the reaction to certain parts, stuff like, why don't they name the person that said this about them? For what reason? So you can defend them. That's what's going to happen. We don't want to hear that. They said it. They said how they wanted to say. You cannot force them to say it. The second thing, the fact that someone in the family close to Harry has asked about whether the child's going to be dark or not.
Mate, that did you see Oprah Winfrey's reaction? That was everyone.
Bro,
that
Me
is,
too.
bro, imagine her reaction. All those interviews she's done, right? And she was genuinely shocked, like
gobsmacked.
Like, she was speechless. I've never seen her speechless in an interview. Like they had that intermission bit. She was like, I don't even know what to say. Like that is absolute beggars belief. And I feel like that comment alone, Kojo, I think that kind of leads on nicely. That is an indictment of this whole country. The fact that the people in the royal family that you go to all these like sort of events and promote, like obviously they go to Africa, they go to all these places, like smiles on their faces, you know, look at us, we're doing X, Y, and Z. Listen, you guys don't give a shit about us behind closed doors. And this is the royal family. These mans are meant to be looking after the country. And you know what? Honestly, this is the worst part. I'm not surprised that this has happened. Because as soon as Meghan Markle got married to him, I knew this was going to happen. And kind of like, obviously, Anita, just to bring you on, in terms of that comment regarding Archie's skin color, that is absolutely disgraceful.
Bro, when I was Oprah Winfrey too, I was like, what? Like, the thing is, right, like that comment, this country is built on racism. I know that 100%. It's 100% built on racism. People talk about America. I think America, they've got issues of their own 100%. Like their racism is
next level, man.
Like what racism is racism. One thing I've seen are comparisons between America and the UK. My dog, whether America has it on a larger scale or not, I don't give a heck because it's still here. Absolutely. That's the problem. It is still here. What do you mean about the color of the baby's skin? The funny thing is, right? I mean this with no disrespect at all. Meghan Markle is a light-skinned woman. She's very fair-skinned, and she's half black. The chances of the baby coming out my color, for example, is very slim. So, by what they meant by the baby being a bit darker is the baby being a bit darker than Meghan. That is the problem. They don't they don't care if the baby is Harry's color. It's just the baby being just that little bit darker than Meghan, because then it's not okay. That is a problem. That is a huge problem, and that is where racism has stemmed so deep into this country. Is unbelievable. 100%. You'll see them dancing in Jamaica, though. You'll see them dancing. You don't see that, but they don't want it for themselves. They don't want it for themselves, though. They don't want that.
100%, man.
What baffled me about that whole thing was, I'm not even going to mention the newspapers. They don't need any sort of credit, but their question was. They questioned the timing of it because Harry sort of contradicted when it was said. I'm like, does it matter when the hell it was said? Before, after birth, it doesn't matter. The fact that they asked that question.
Though? Like, he's been through so much shit. You think he like remembers everything like that? Right. Probably a blur to the guy. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly, but shout out to him as well for honestly defending her. Listen, I think we've all known about the royal family for a long time. Even though their background's not even British like that, so really and truly they're a bunch of fools.
Yeah.
But you know. You in this day and age, we always say that, especially sometimes men, you really have to stand behind your woman and support her, because some women will go to the ends of the earth for their men, straight up.
Exactly.
So someone in his position in the royal family, knowing that what he could get with ease in that family, the fact that he's walked away from it, the fact that he's stood by her side 100%, and he's never gonna, even look the other way and be like, nah, maybe I was wrong. He's got her back all day, every day. I gotta commend that. There's not a lot of men that'll do that.
Do you know what is really mad about it, right? Is Harry, he didn't really realize how deeply rooted the racism is. He didn't realize it until he got with Meghan, and then he started seeing it. And the fact that he's highlighted all of these things to the family and nothing's been done, it is scary.
They said they don't want to get involved with some
but then they can get involved with someone being a potential paedophile.
Wow. It's so true as well.
It's ridiculous, and it's something where I'm just thinking, I'm really, really not wanted in this country. If the royal family cannot accept that there is racism in the tabloids, in society, if they don't want to accept that, it is madness. The fact that they think that what is happening is okay. The fact that Harry even said that he's actually been shielded from all of these type of things. That he hasn't really seen all of this happen until he married Meg.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
That
to
is
make
an
someone
issue.
like that, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't think that I can go anywhere without being subject to racism when the people that head up this country are racist themselves. It's madness. Anyways, fuck Piers Morgan. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna come on because obviously I kind of put subtitles. So I'm gonna talk about the media's influence in this, right? So first and foremost, you know, we mentioned Piers Morgan. You know, we know the newspaper chat shit. They make up lies, but it was Meghan's own words. Actually, the way they character assassinated her, in terms of, you know, there was a story that came out that I don't even remember thinking William's wife's name. What's the name again? I've completely it's gone out of my head. Like,
who? Sorry,
not William. I forgot the flipping names. I forgot all their names. Harry's brother's name.
William.
Yeah, William. I said William's wife. I was like, William's. What's the name? I forgot the name. Anyway, they said that Meghan made her cry. It was obviously the reverse, isn't it?
Kate.
Oh, yeah, Kate.
Yeah, Kate, that's it. Kate.
Yeah.
I've forgotten the name. Completely forgot she existed. But anyways, Kate, yeah, so the sort of newspaper said that Meghan made Kate cry. All the family knew that it was the polar opposite of what happened. And then obviously when Oprah asked her, like, why did not come out and rectify it? Because like that would be common sense. Like, to come out and obviously speak out about the matter, it's obviously it's false, isn't it? And she just sat there. Meghan didn't actually directly say it, but we all know why the reason was, because she's black and they're trying to character assassinate her. And I think in terms of media culture, like how big of an impact have they played in this sort of whole situation? Now they seem like they've masterminded all of it. Really.
They are the situation. They're the problem.
That's you know, you took the words right out of my mouth right there. It's perfect. That's it.
It's them.
That's it. It's all them.
It's them.
Simple as
that. So sorry. Don't get me wrong. I still feel like, you know, the royal family racism is rooted in them. Blah blah blah. I still believe it. But the media, they are the problem. Because the thing is, right, Meghan and Harry, they mention the Queen and they mention how warm she was and how welcoming she is, blah blah blah. And a lot of people are trying to go for the Queen and stuff. Cool. The thing is, I believe Meghan when she says that the Queen was welcoming. I believe it. 100. Thank you.
So called you Queen. Round you.
That's funny. Sorry. But I believe them when they say that, you know, the Queen was probably warm and they still speak to the Queen and stuff like that. Cool. I believe all of that crap, right? But I believe it because I really do feel like the media and the institution does control this monarchy, and that is even more scary. Who are the institution? Why are they so connected with the media? Why are the media working with these racist ass people? The media is meant to be there to be spewing out truths, not spewing out false rumors or false narratives, trying to create the division against the country like Piers Morgan's been doing for quite a while now. Yeah. These people are getting paid for these things. It is scary. The fact that the Queen is supposedly this warm woman, but all of this is happening under her nose. Why can't she do something about that? That is a problem. That is
crazy. You'd think she's got the power to, rectify it. But then again, in saying that, look, obviously, it seems like they speak very glowingly of the Queen, so I'm not going to knock her. But she did defend a certain other individual that, thou shalt not be named, certain, pedo. They defended him. They come out and cleaned all of his tracks. So I feel like it's a choice. Like, I feel like a lot of it is a choice. It seems like with Meghan's interview as well, the way she's speaking about she's thinking about suicide. These mans are sat there, saying, no, you can't do X, D, and she's talking about that kind of stuff. Like, how far gone was you? Like, you see, how much hate do you have to a person because of the color of her skin? Because she's doing absolutely nothing else. Like, I just don't understand the situation. I just got to put this comment out here because obviously it's quite funny. Usmaan slipping up today. No bonus for you. Listen, call me Steven Gerrard. Man's always slipping on that. But, I had to get that. Balls off the dome, what can I say? But, listen, Kojo, I've got to ask this, right? So I'll put it down. Does this show how fake certain individuals in the media are? Because look, Piers Morgan, BLM, he spoke so highly in all that. Yeah, listen, it's Susan as well, whatever her name, Susan Reed or whatever.
Susan Reed, yeah,
who sits next to him as well, is getting blasted on social media as well.
Do you know what Susan Reed is? She's the type of woman I don't want to be. How's my man talking all of this shit right next to you, and you're sitting there like this?
Did you see
with
what,
your mug?
Did you see what he did with that woman? I don't know her name, so I do apologize.
Bro, that was one of the most
Have you seen
horrifying things I've ever seen.
What happened? I don't think I've seen it.
So he was like, he was saying, usually it's spring, but when it's March time, we look too forward to spring. But I know it's summertime because she's wearing a mini skirt, and then the camera pans to her legs. I genuinely couldn't believe what was going on.
National TV.
On national TV.
And he goes, okay, stand up for us. On national TV, he goes, stand up. She stands up, and then he goes, okay, give us a twirl, and she does it. And
honestly,
Susanna Reed's right there. It's like next to him saying, fuck all, like, bro, how? Like, my brother saying to me, I told you about Piers because my brother's hated Piers since day one. And I was like, I know I like Piers and what he's doing against the government and stuff. Look, he said some good things about the government, but obviously, these guys at the top, also Alan Sugar coming out saying he defends Piers Morgan. I just feel like all these people in the high power, right?
They're the same people.
It's the same.
But
this is power is defending Piers Morgan.
This is what it is, though. This is what it is. It takes one situation, and it doesn't matter when it comes. It takes one situation for you to really see the real person behind what they show you. Piers Morgan and Alan Sugar have been going at each other's throats for how long now? And then this situation arises, and suddenly I'm Team Piers. That tells you everything you need to know about the man.
Ridiculous.
That's as simple as it gets. And it's not the first time he's done that as well. There's another thing, 2 or 3 years ago about Meghan that he also agreed with Piers Morgan. This isn't new.
When I tell you, the only thing white people unanimously agree on, especially the old ignorant people, is that black people are a problem. That's the only thing.
100%.
They honestly believe that we are a problem. And that's why when I mentioned earlier, the generation above from mine, perfect. I feel like that's where we need to be heading. The generation, a couple generations after, Piers Morgan, Alan Sugar, all of them lot, once they are gone, society will be a better place.
Look at this comedy, Alan Sugar's a knob. Straight up.
Once them men are all gone, society will be a better place. And I pray for times like that, honestly. So that's why I got to keep going, because at the end of the day, the girls below me, they're going to have a path where they're not going to have the Piers Morgans and the Alan Sugars and all of them racist bastards, you know? Like, bloody ridiculous, man.
Yeah, the worst thing is, right, I'm assuming you guys have seen the tweets from Piers Morgan, right? You must have seen them, innit? Like, basically...
He's tweeted how many times about Meghan?
No, the one from 2016. I tweeted it out, right? So, listen to this, right? So, basically, so I did a bit of research in it. I went on that Twitter and had a little look at and whatnot. And obviously, I looked at a couple of interviews. So, basically... So there's an interview of Piers Morgan, like way back. I think he's talking about Meghan Markle when they're friends. So I don't know how long ago the interview was. I've just seen a clip of it on social media. So basically, the guy's interview, it's like a sort of what's his name? Graham Norton kind of vibe show in it. So he's getting interviewed on one of them. It's some American guy. Anyways, interviewing, they asked him about Meghan Markle, and they asked him in it because apparently it was some suit shit. He goes like, oh yeah, I met Meghan Markle and we were dancing together at a club, yada yada. I don't remember the full story. And then he goes, we were there together for 2 hours, we had a great night, etc. And then I put her in a cab and she was going to a party. And then they were like, okay, like what's this got to do with it? And he goes, so it so happened that at that party that obviously she met Harry at that party, and he goes, ever since that day I regret it because she never spoken to me since. So basically, the truth is Piers was trying to get onto her, and there's tweets. You can check my Twitter. I've tweeted it out. There's like a full list of tweets. It's not me who found it, but some other guys found it. But it's a full list of tweets from Piers Morgan in Meghan Markle, basically licking her ass, right? Simping, everything. 2016 when Suits were out. He's a huge Suits fan, etc. And the guy was trying to link her on that level, and she aired him. And he said on the interview himself, she ghosted me. He said the word ghosted. And since that day, he started to hate her.
That's what the
man got rejected. Man got rejected, and he was married at the time as well.
What made him think that he even had a chance with her?
There's levels. There is levels. He doesn't meet the criteria. He needs to know.
Honestly, Go back to your wife, bro. Be a respectable man.
Fam.
At something.
It all makes sense, you know, because man them, no offense, man them, but man them are petty when they get curved.
Yeah, it's true, you know.
Yeah, they are.
It's true.
She's taking shots at some of you. I don't know where it is.
I'm just saying, man them are petty.
It's true,
but the fact that that's the reason it stemmed from that. And it's just like, this mother lover's been on a witch hunt, right, to remove her from like society, character assassinate, so to speak, just because man got rejected. Like, you have some fucking shame. You were married as well. Like, it's absolutely embarrassing. And obviously, like, we can sit here and talk about it as long as we want, but I kind of want to just say this and just get you guys. No, obviously, you must have seen that film Get Out. Like, honestly, God, I was watching the interview, right? And I was thinking, yo, this is kind of familiar, though. It's kind of like that film Get Out. And I feel like a part of me is thinking, yo, like, obviously Harry's not doing anything wrong, but the rest of the family is a bit sus, you know.
Funny enough, you know, I actually watched that movie this Saturday as well. It's a joke because I watched it like 5 times now. It's hilarious. It's great.
That movie is so funny, but it has such a deep meaning. Like, I'm telling you,
it's mad.
I'm telling you, like, if I want to be with a white man, 100%, when I'm going to their house, I'm going to have to be careful. I'm going to have to look around just to be sure, just because of that movie, just to be sure. And then once I know that the family's good, I'm like, all right, I can let my guard down. I'm going to have to go there first.
Yeah, 100%. But listen, I just want to say a massive thank you to our guest, Anita, the queen. Absolute quality show. Your love is here. Make sure you show love to her. Obviously, I've got all her social media platforms down in the description, as I have got Kojo's. You know, Kojo, you know your coach Kojo account. It makes it deleted because I don't know why I've got it in there, but it is what it is. He doesn't use it. But Kojo's coach Kojo is down below as well. Show him love. Make sure you drop a like. Subscribe to the channel. Before we go, Anita, just tell the people where they can find you. You know, obviously plug Gold Diggers basically, and just tell
plug everything. Plug everything. Even channel 406 on Sky Sports News. We can find you there.
Crazy. I'm a BT Sport babe, so.
Don't tell Sky Sports that on the contract.
413 on the Skybox. Find it. There you go.
You're right. No, I'm saying. Firstly, if anyone from BT is watching this, please hire me.
Yes, real talk.
I'm out of a job now, so I need to get hired somewhere. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at FLWN_. You can find my podcast at Gold Diggers UK on Instagram and Twitter, and on YouTube as well. And you can find me on the Football Terrace. I actually just finished recording a Chelsea show on the Football Terrace just before coming here. And you can subscribe to our channel there as well. There's a page to get ready.
You'll love to see it. The links will be down below for both Kojo and Anita. Make sure you show them love. As always, make sure you stay tuned on Usmaan Talk tonight. I think we got AC Milan preview tomorrow. I can't remember what day of the week it is, but we'll be back tomorrow with that. And on Thursday, watch along, all that good stuff. Apart from that, it's been your boy, Usmaan. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll be back tomorrow. Peace.